Now, Huck's army's leaving his natural expansion and his main base exposed. If Idra would just go around, he doesn't stand to lose a lot by letting Huck march through here. Looks like Idra's going to try and stand his ground. He shoos Huck away a little bit. Back into the third base that he's taken. And now, in terms of mining bases, they're even. Huck has his natural expansion, his main base, in this one. And Idra has his main base, his natural expansion, in this one. This one he hasn't gotten up mining. And as a Zerg, you don't want to be on equal footing with a Protoss or a Terran. You want to be ahead. This is not a great place for Idra to be. I think he made a big mistake waiting for Huck to macro up a larger army. He's got a decent force of Corruptors here. And if it weren't for this choke, which is going to be a death trap with these Colossus, he could probably take this force on in an open field. But this standoff here isn't doing much for Idra at all. As you can see, Huck's base is wide open from the front. He could at least pretend like he's going to try and hold this line and send a smaller force at the front of Huck's expansion. Kind of divide his army a little bit. And if worst comes to worst, Huck decides that he wants to push forward into this base. All he's really leaving exposed, Idra that is a base that's not even mining. This doesn't need to be the front line for Idra, but it looks like he's making it that way. I also think it's a big mistake you turn those Corruptors, which you need against the Colossus, into Broodlords. Now, Broodlords are a very powerful unit, don't get me wrong. They fire off the Broodlings, which is very useful to distract the attacks of the opposing force, but they are quite slow. And right now, the biggest threat to Idra is this Colossus count. And your best bet against those is far and away the Corruptor. It's cheaper, it's faster, and it does extra damage against Massive, which the Colossus is. And of course, Huck is well equipped to deal with Broodlords. He's got the Stalkers, which can just blink right underneath the Broodlords and focus them down. And then when they get in trouble, they can blink back out. This is just such a slow army. Broodlords are slow to move, they're also slow to make, so you can't replenish it very quickly. And with the unit composition he's got now, Idra can only move the Broodlords by themselves. He might take out a cannon. That's it. Then he has to retreat. Losing the Broodlord, it's not a good trade. Broodlord for a cannon. Idra's afraid to engage with this army because of how many Colossus there are. And with 3 Broodlords, he just won't be able to deal with that amount of Colossus. And look at that, that's a slaughter. He just keeps losing units. Now, I'm not sure he should be pushing up this ramp like this. This is not a good move for Huck. He's losing his army very fast now. Idra reinforcing quite well. Sorry about that, didn't mean to hit pause. Looking for the production. There we are. He's producing 8 Corruptors, which is definitely what he needs to deal with this. Now, I like what's happening here. Huck taking this standoff as an opportunity to expand to another base. Idra not doing much of anything. Looks like he is getting a couple upgrades, the flyer attack and the ranged unit attack for his ground units. But he's so low on gas. He needs to be taking additional bases, get those geysers going, because that's really what's going to hold him up now as resources as he replenishes his army. He's going to lose a lot of units to these Colossus. He's going to have to sacrifice some Corruptors to try and take those down. And if he doesn't do it, he's just going to get overrun. He won't be able to replenish his army if he doesn't have the appropriate gas to do so. With just this big mineral count that he's got, he can only produce Zerglings. And those are useless against Colossus. They'll just die in droves. Now, Huck won't have caught up in supply, and he won't for a while now. And that's really what the Zerg Idra needs to take advantage of. He needs to do a constant onslaught in different places on the map and replenish his army as quickly as he can, because that's the advantage that the Zerg has. They can make a lot of units very quickly. They can also tech switch very quickly. It's an interesting engagement there. As I was saying, it requires the Zerg to really take advantage of that and try and attack on multiple fronts. So you should be running maybe a fleet of Mutalisks back here or a small drop just to harass this a little bit. Doesn't do him any good to just be playing this back and forth game here, because he's not taking advantage of the fact that he can produce units in mass very quickly and replenish his army very quickly. This kind of slow engagement allows the Protoss to rebuild his army, which is very powerful when it's maxed, but it's slow to build, especially units like the Colossus. They're very expensive and very slow to build. This is just very poor strategy by Idra. He really needs to be taking advantage of the mobility of the Zerg force. This is wide open. If you could sweep an Overlord back here with just some Banelings or Zerglings, you'd really harass the main base, force this army to retreat, and then this might become wide open. But right now it's just not making any progress with these Broodlords. He's just wasting time, wasting money, allowing Huck to take additional bases, and he's not really doing much with the time that he's buying here. Just now starting a hatchery up here. It's not like this requires a lot of micro anyways, moving a Broodlord forward, moving it back, moving it forward, moving it back. It's just a waste of bloody time. Looks like Huck's getting a little impatient here. Some great storms there, gonna obliterate this army with those. And just things dying in mass. Brutal move, and that is the big mistake here with this back and forth. Now the armies for both have dwindled pretty well. They're about even at 150. Now we'll see how Idra macros up. Looks like he's producing quite a lot of roaches. And he's been able to get his army count up quite quickly. Now this is the mistake. He's just bringing the units back to this battle line here. This is just silly. He needs to be attacking elsewhere. He needs to be harassing other parts of his base, taking out tech structures if he can. This doesn't do him any good. And look at this. Huck pulling away in supply because he can out-produce him now. He's got quite a lot of gateways. And of course that warp gate technology allows you to produce units quite quickly. Idra hasn't been expanding like he should. He's pretty low on minerals. If you look at the income tab, he's way behind in harvesters. And that's going to play a big role later. He's not going to be able to keep up and replenish his unit count like Huck will be able to. Finally getting these two geysers up. And as a Zerg, it's really important that you have enough gas. Because if you don't, all you can make are Zerglings. And they don't shoot air. And against things like Templar, Colossus, Zealots, or even Sentries with good force fields, Zerglings are really useless. Now that's good. He finally did a little bit of harassment up here, forcing him to move his army away, forcing Huck to move his army away, and as you can see now this base is wide open. Unfortunately he's using Broodlords, which are quite slow. I might have preferred him to just run some Zerglings in here, stream them in, and they'll take out these buildings quite a bit faster. Looks like there's going to be a big engagement in the middle, and this is a mistake for Idra. He's bottlenecked here, allows the Colossus to just roast his units. And just look at the supply drop as he engages in the worst possible place. Tall spine crawlers doesn't make it a good place to engage. They're not a big deterrent to Colossus, especially with that thermal lance. And now when you're talking about armies of this size, they don't add a whole lot of damage. So this is exactly where Idra doesn't want to be. I think he's just frustrated. I think he's out of ideas. He doesn't know what to do. So just going to throw the game away. And look, some classic whining by Idra. He's blaming the cost of Protoss units, but the truth is he just got outplayed. He got lazy, he didn't attack on multiple fronts, he didn't use the natural advantage of Zerg to produce units quickly. He didn't expand when he was biding his time down here. He's gonna pay for it. You can't just win on the merit of being Idra. And it looks like Idra is the first one to cry imbalance every time he loses. Gets pretty bloody tiresome if you ask me. And there it is. His armor just dwindling to the storms in Colossus. And he's pretty much done with this game. He's got no money. He didn't expand enough, didn't have enough harvesters. And Huck just outplayed him. Huck did exactly what you want to be doing as a Protoss. You want to be expanding as much as you can, taking map control, and forcing the opponent to engage in places that favor you. Now, I hope you enjoyed that game, and what I'm trying to do with this channel is I want it to be our channel. So I want you to provide me feedback, what you like and what you don't like, and I'll just try to make it better and better, so you guys can enjoy the casts that I make, and it's just what you're looking for. So, immediately, if you could just tell me how you like the levels, you know, do you like the music on or off? Do you like the music louder or quieter? Do you like the game sounds louder or quieter? Do you like health bars or no? That kind of thing. We'll tailor that to how you like to see the games. And then we'll take it from there, in terms of what I cast on a daily basis. And what I mean by our channel is I think it's an opportunity for you to get a channel on YouTube that's exactly what you want to see, how you want to see it, and that's what I'm here to do. Alright, it's been I Dare Say Starcraft. I'll see you next time.